Hey y'all, Mr. Beautiful, Backyard Chronicles. And I am so compelled to be before you today um, to talk about a subject that means a lot to me. Um, I don't even know where to start, but I'll just begin. I was born November 25th, 1956, in Shreveport, Louisiana. And the neighborhood where I grew up was half white, literally, and half black. Um, so when I hear um, black people, commentators, preachers, um, people doing that work in the community and different things of that nature to help build, uplift, and grow our community. When I hear people of that fabric comparing what is happening today with Donald Trump, MAGA, and everything else that is transpiring, and they try to compare that to what was going on in the Jim Crow era, it literally pierces through my very being. It hurts me so much whenever I hear those types of comparisons. The Jim Crow era lasted approximately 100 years, from 1865 through 1965, from the end of the Civil War to the passing of the legislation for the Voting Rights and Civil Rights Acts of 1964 and 65. It was a period, although not slavery, the mechanisms that were in place in our society from the federal level, state, county, and local levels was so restrictive and so powerful in the different types of legislation that were passed in order to incarcerate, intimidate, regulate black people. It was absolutely amazing. Um, Incredible the things that they were able to do. There's one of one of the most powerful books ever in print is a book about lynchings that transpired during the Jim Crow era of mostly black men, for the most part. To hear people today trying to compare the racism of today, and I'm a person who is certainly an advocate for black people, for our communities, and I've fought very vigorously and very hard working in our communities to help um, liberate our people. I've written poems, I've spoken out against it professionally, culturally, socially. The racism of today has its own weight, has its own meaning, has its own power. But it is not Jim Crow by any stretch of the imagination. And to me, it is so disrespectful so disrespectful to the people who suffered under that system all across this country, but especially in the South. I used to work with Merle Evers, and she would tell me about the way that they lived prior to her husband Medgar Evers being assassinated in their front yard. I knew people personally who disappeared and were never seen again. There seems to be no perspective and no clear understanding of the era in which we're living, and people who never in their entire lives experienced the things that I personally experienced, and the people who suffered and died under that Jim Crow system went through. And to try to compare the shit that's going on today, as horrible and as bad as it is, there is no freaking comparison between the two. None whatsoever. And to sit there and to try to inculcate some type of level playing field between the two eras is absolutely ridiculous, and lacks even any type of academic credibility. What is going on today is awful, is bad, but it is not Jim Crow. We're not seeing black men on postcards at a lynching, at a white picnic. Pick a nigga. And to act as though it is the same or comparable in any type of way is absolutely ridiculous. And this is my last point, and there could be many, many more that I could make. Many in our community, me included, are so upset with white people for trying to change history, for trying to rewrite history, slavery, and all that transpired in the Jim Crow era, and all that transpired during those times, and all the suffering, and all of the death that took place in the lives of black people. And before I get to this point, let me say this as well. What is happening to illegal immigrants being picked up on the streets is not the same. They are not being incarcerated for the rest of their lives, and neither are they being hung, shot, buried alive, or whatever the case might be. So don't fucking try to act like what's happening to illegal immigrants today is what happened to black people during the fucking Jim Crow era. It is not the same. Now back to my point about changing history. Many in our community, me included, are upset at white people for trying to change history. But what is the difference when black academics and people who are working for the betterment of our community trying to change history by trying to compare what's happening today to the same thing that was happening during the Jim Crow era? That's changing history. It is not the same. It is not comparable. It is not. It is not the same. And we do a disservice to the heroes of that era. We do a disservice to Cheney, Schwerner. We do a disservice to Emmett Till. We do a disservice to Medgar Evers. We do a disservice to Martin Luther King and all the other heroes who lost their lives and suffered under Jim Crow. We can be better. And we can call this era of craziness and racism for what it is. But it is not Jim Crow. And from my own personal experience of growing up in the Jim Crow era and being a part of the first integration in 1969 that ever happened in Shreveport, Louisiana, it is not the same. It is not the same. Peace and blessings. Let's be better. Let's be better.